Welcome back. In the previous lesson, we discussed why safety still matters, even for experienced permit holders. Now we're going to review something that every firearm owner should know by heart: the 4 universal firearm safety rules. If you've been around firearms for any length of time, you've probably heard these rules dozens, maybe even hundreds of times, and that's exactly the point. Safety rules are repeated because they work. These 4 simple principles have prevented countless accidents and saved countless lives. As experienced firearm owners, our goal isn't simply to memorize these rules, our goal is to live by them. Every firearm, every day, no exceptions. In this lesson, you'll learn how these core safety principles apply to every firearm, everywhere, and at all times. You will learn how understanding the reasoning behind each rule reinforces compliance, and how multiple layers of protection create a safety net that no single failure can breach. Let's start with rule number 1. Treat every firearm as if it is loaded. A more direct way to say this rule is, all guns are loaded. Notice the wording in either case. It doesn't say, assume it's loaded, or check once and forget. It says, treat it as if it is loaded. Why? Because mistakes happen. People forget, people become distracted, people make assumptions. One of the most common causes of negligent discharges is believing a firearm is unloaded when it is not. Professional firearms instructors often say, the firearm doesn't care what you think. A firearm functions according to its actual condition, not your assumptions. That's why every time you pick up a firearm, you should verify its condition for yourself, even if someone just told you it was unloaded. Even if you unloaded it yourself 5 minutes ago, check again. Developing that habit dramatically reduces risk. Rule number 2 states never point a firearm at anything you are not willing to destroy. This rule is about muzzle discipline. Simply put, wherever the muzzle points, the potential consequences follow. Good shooters maintain awareness of muzzle direction at all times. Whether you're carrying, cleaning, practicing, or storing a firearm, muzzle direction matters. Think about how many accidents would be prevented if this rule alone were followed consistently. Even if every other safety rule failed, proper muzzle discipline could still prevent tragedy. When handling a firearm, constantly ask yourself, where is my muzzle pointed right now? That simple question can help prevent devastating mistakes. A simple idea that has been helpful to some of my students is to imagine that the gun has an invisible laser beam emitting from the muzzle, and the laser is so powerful it destroys anything in its path. This idea may help you maintain awareness about where your muzzle is pointing. Rule number 3. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on target and you have made the decision to shoot. This rule is often violated unintentionally. Many people place their finger inside the trigger guard far too early. Sometimes it's out of habit. Sometimes it's due to excitement. Sometimes it's simply because they're not paying attention. A responsible firearm owner develops strong trigger discipline. Notice that the rule doesn't say, keep your finger off the trigger until you think you might shoot. It says, until your sights are on target and you have made the decision to shoot. Until that moment arrives, your trigger finger belongs indexed safely along the frame of the firearm. Professional shooters practice this habit constantly because it becomes automatic under stress. The more consistently you practice proper trigger discipline, the safer you'll be. Rule number 4. Be sure of your target and what is beyond it. This rule is frequently overlooked. Many people focus entirely on the target itself, but responsible firearm ownership requires us to think beyond the target. What is behind it? What is around it? Who else may be present? Where could a missed shot travel? Every projectile launched from a firearm carries responsibility. Once a bullet leaves the barrel, you cannot call it back. You own the consequences. This is why target identification and environmental awareness are essential components of responsible firearm use. Why all 4 rules work together. One of the most important things to understand is that these rules work together. Think of them as multiple layers of protection. If one layer fails, another layer may still prevent an accident. For example, if someone mistakenly believes a firearm is unloaded, Rule 1 has failed. But if the muzzle remains pointed in a safe direction, Rule 2 may still prevent injury. If Rule 2 also fails, Rule 3 may still prevent a discharge. And if all 3 fail, Rule 4 may still help prevent tragedy. The safety system works because multiple safeguards exist simultaneously. Take a moment and ask yourself, which safety rule am I most likely to overlook? Do I consistently verify firearm condition? Do I maintain muzzle awareness? Is my trigger discipline automatic? Am I always aware of my surroundings and what lies beyond my target? Honest answers create opportunities for improvement. Key takeaways in this lesson. The 4 universal safety rules remain the foundation of responsible firearm ownership. These rules apply at home, at the range, during training, during carry, and during every interaction with a firearm. Experience does not replace safety. Safety supports experience. In our next lesson, we're going to discuss safe storage and family protection, because responsible firearm ownership doesn't end when the firearm is holstered. It includes how firearms are secured, stored, and protected within the home. I'll see you in the next lesson.